So guys, how we doing? I want to use a title, what your parents can't teach you, what your daddy didn't teach you about money. I'm quite serious about that title because you've got to look at your life and where you've come from, who were around you. Now, whether you had very wealthy people in your life or you didn't have wealthy people in your life, whether you had affluent people in your life or you didn't, either you weren't ready to learn or they weren't ready to teach or they couldn't teach you. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. Getting this information and knowledge is a very interesting journey that's quite complex, quite confusing, but at the end of it, it's really simple. In life, we've got to try and make things as simple as possible for ourselves because is there some noise out there? What I mean by noise, there's things happening on a day-to-day basis, information, new technology, new way of doing things, new science. This doesn't work, that doesn't work. This used to work, it doesn't work now. But the fundamentals of time and dollar have not changed in hundreds of years. Before we get started, I just want to recap on 4 or 5 things which will lead into this session as regarding money, financial freedom, very, very clearly. So in our time, the number one thing that we had to look at on a day-to-day basis was ourselves. And for those of that don't know what I'm doing when I'm going like that, I'm looking in the mirror. And it's a big mirror. So when we're looking at our time, how we spend it, what we do with it, how we think, and the rhythm of that time of how we keep moving forwards, we're constantly got to keep looking at ourselves and self-analyze. So let's look at money and where it comes from. And when we talk about why don't the rich tell you how to make money or tell you how to keep hold of money and why daddy can't, because there's 3 types of money that's usually out there. You've got number 1, inherited money. So let's call it given. Yeah. So we've got money that's been given. Now, what do you think happens to most people that are given a whole bunch of money? Under the fundamental reason for that, they never learned how to respect money, how to understand money, and indeed understand financial literacy. Now, here's the thing. Some people really understand that they need to have financial literacy right from the beginning, but not many. It's from a 0 to 1%. Most people realize they've got to have financial literacy once they hit a wall. Yeah? And usually the wall is somewhere between like absolutely screwed in time and dollar, or they've basically got this real challenge where they've got shit going on left, right, and center. This mountain's that big that it's too big to dissect on a day-to-day basis, like pulling it apart or starting again. So the important thing for financial literacy is to start right back at the beginning. Where do you think we need to start with financial literacy? Now, if you look at the same analogy, how simple is losing weight and getting fit? Very simple. You've got to fall over yourself not to find information. You simply got to, eat better quality food on a day-to-day basis and do a bit of exercise and make sure you balance out the numbers. And there's many, many ways to do that. So the same thing happens, with money or learning something new. We've got to learn it for the long haul. Understanding financial literacy will save, keep you afloat, move you through the rest of your life, even when you, as I have done many times, do some real dumb shit. Yeah, when you fuck up real bad. Because having financial literacy, you can recover so fast compared to anybody else that hasn't got good financial literacy, following a few basic principles. I want to start with number 1, what your daddy doesn't teach you. You ink dollar. You ink. So I don't care whether you've got a $100,000 income, a $50,000 income. You've got guys in here that are doing millions of dollars, guys in here that are doing hundreds of dollars, and guys in here that are doing hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it doesn't matter where we start. This is where we start from. You Inc. Incorporated. Now, let me take you back. Your commitment to financial literacy. So underneath You Inc. So I want you to see yourself as a company, an entity, because what do you do as an individual? If you've got a job, whether you're at school and got a job after hours, or whether you've got a job that you've started your first job and you're on 20, 30, 40, 50 grand, you are an entity. You are your own company. That's why I call it You Inc. Incorporated, $, because you've got income coming in, You've got some expenses going out and you want some left over for a rainy day to go and spend on some fun stuff. But this is where it all starts to go wrong. Now, think about your life. Now, if you look back to people or yourself, how you've grown through life, you know, you've increased your income. Most people then increase their debt. Now, I haven't got a problem with debt, long as it's good debt. And I had this discussion earlier in the week with a couple of clients regarding, you know, so what's good debt versus bad debt? Well, good debt to me, as I'm sure Darren and others will tell you, good debt is where you've got great investments and you've got a great LVR in place, a loan to valuation ratio, and you've got good income coming in from that and gives you cash flow. But you've got some debt there. But your loan to valuation ratio and whatever it may well be it business or a home or a particular commercial building, gives you great cash flow. So as an individual, what is you Incorporated? Well, you have currently, if you've got a job, one income stream. Now, I have this conversation all the time with young people and guys that have worked for me and still work for me. It's very interesting to think, hey, I need to earn more money here. Now, how many hours in the week are there? 168. How many minutes in the day? 440. How many hours do most people want to work to earn the most amount of money? So now take 168 from the biggest answer or the most consecutive answer through here is 40. So now take 40 from 168. What are we left with? Wow, look at the speed of some of you dudes with your fingers. 128, 128, 128, 1. See, we've now got great financial literacy. So if we're earning $1,000 a week from financial literacy, how many hours would we need to work to be able to earn an extra $500 if we're working 40 hours a week to produce 1,020? So in order to increase our income by 50%, we simply got to work an extra 20 hours more. How many hours are you prepared to put some commitment in to double your income? So if you look at life, you know what I mean? And this is what I hate about a lot of business coaches or advisors. Here's how to work less time and make more money. Here's how to work less time and make more money. It's not fucking real. Doesn't work that way. Not straight at the beginning anyhow. What number do you want from you Inc. Incorporated, from whatever you do, whether it's 1 job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs, what is that number? So write that number down. If your number was 150 over here, write it down. If it was 400, write it down. Because that is the target income we are looking for from however. We don't need to worry where we get it from, which business, what income stream, which job. We've got to dial it into what the actual number is. So have we all got a number? This is your life break even. Now, I don't mean break even to pay the bills, pay the mortgage, keep the kids in school, buy that new car next year. I'm talking about this is your lifestyle break even, the life that you want to be able to live a life. Because remember, it wasn't an existence number, it was a live number. Draw me a nice big old circle like this, yeah? And one line down the middle, one line across, diagonally across again, and back through. And then if you've got a colour, change a colour, and let's go green, because I love green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to call this your 8-year retirement plan. So here's the thing. What do you think I mean by retire? So retire, I don't think I'll ever retire. I think of it as a car, as you guys know, I'm into cars, bikes, and so forth. So retire for me is I always get excited about when I get the chance to retire a car, because I get to go and finally destroy the last bits of fur on the old tires and put the new tires back on. So for me, I get bored pretty quick. Yeah, so 8 years is a fucking long time for me. A long, long time to be able to focus on some shit. Yeah, so I like to break it down because every 8 years, yeah, I know for a fact you can potentially retire. Why? Because I've had to start again many times from fucking things up with one thing or another. Mainly making the wrong decisions around women. But anyway, let's not go there. So retire is about being able to start again, and with the 8 years, with the right knowledge around financials, the right knowledge around how to build and scale businesses and how to understand time, to be able to go from 0 all the way through to getting to your income that you can actually keep. So if it's be able to get that business, that entity, that cash flow, whatever, wherever it's coming from, be able to say, right, I've now got that dialed in, and that will keep on coming in year after year after year after year, whether you are there all the time. Number one, passive income does not flipping frigging exist. There is no such thing as passive income. You go, yeah, of course there is, Pete, man. You can get it out of property, and you can get your business to work without you and all this sort of shit. Well, it doesn't. You've got to always be working in it somehow. Maybe not many hours, maybe not many minutes, but you've always got to be in it at some stage. Yeah, you wouldn't hear someone say, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" I work on eczema. I work on this. I work on that. You don't work in something. So, property, is that passive? Yes or no? Yeah, I had one instance about 10 years ago where I thought, oh, property can be passive, and I had a particular property that I'd leased out through a real estate agent and so forth, kept it all passive. They were handling everything all the way through from the da-da-da. Guess what happened? The thing went wrong. And a brand new $500,000 house in Frankston, we nearly burnt it to the ground. No insurance, lots of bills coming out of it, and it was a big, big mistake. So passive, we do never go passive, yeah? Look up the word, what passive actually means, yeah? Whether it's passive aggressive or passive all the way through. Passive basically means you just fucking let go of it. Yeah? You cannot let go of anything you care about, be it your family, be it your personal self or your business. You've always got to stay in that thing, stay around that thing, stay all over it. Doesn't mean you need to work it on a day-to-day basis, though. So let's move forward. So the next thing I want you to look at, so we're going to look at now this particular year here, which is year one. So year one, what does it look like? Well, year one in anything is to really understand where we are and get the right data. So understanding the fundamentals of what we need to do on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis to really understand our financial plan of where we're actually going. Because this is where most things go wrong. Most businesses, don't want to wait to be successful. Most people don't want to wait to be successful. I've got some very good clients that I'm working with at moments in time, some fantastic clients I've worked with up for 5, 10, 15 years. They want it now, rather than waiting. So in business and financial success, yes, it can be done in a short space of time. I'm talking 8 years, but you've got to wait for things to grow, wait for things to compound, wait for things to start to eventuate. Even when you do all the right things and put first things first, you've got to have patience to hold the thing back, not to go out and spend money. We'll talk about that in a second. So patience, patience, patience. I want you to draw this on our 8-year plan. So our 8-year plan looks like this. So get yourself a full sheet of paper and draw this out for me. Yeah. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we're looking at our whole time frame then is regarding whatever income you're looking to produce in less time on a week-to-week basis. So whatever 300K is worth to you next year or the year after, if you compound that, and I would say if you compound it by 10%. So if we're taking your 300K down here, so this is you wanting to work for 300K, the only way it's going to grow to get yourself to a point where you're not having to do a lot of work, so we've got time on this axis and dollar on this axis, is the compounded effect from doing everything right and understanding your financials the right way. Great lessons to have. Probably the number one investor in the world, I would say, in my opinion, Warren Buffett. Go and read Warren Buffett's shit. Yeah. If you want to understand probably the most complex human being on this planet, but how he simplified everything down, if I would say one word to describe Warren Buffett, would be Mr. Compounding. Whatever it was, he had patience to wait, patience to grow, patience to learn, to be able to let things play out. So when we look at our 8-year plan, we've got to think right now, where do we want to be on year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, year 7? Because the hard work, if this was a scale of hard work, and I take this as the hard work line, of how much time you have to put in for the same $300,000, what it's worth in 8 years' time, this is now where you're going to be spending all your time over 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, then to be able to get the compound effect of the time that you spent learning the right way and doing it accurately and precise and not sitting back on our laurels moving forwards, to get to a point where everything's compounded in such a way that you can then start to get the income for the little amount of effort. So let's look at the things. Some key points I want you to write down. Number one, we must have, even knowing the right information, we must have patience. Number one. My second key lesson I wrote down here today that we must have. We must be prepared to do the grind. Because how many of you really understand or want to put the time and effort in to be able to get financial literacy? Because I've got to work so hard on a day-to-day basis to keep my head in financials. It's untrue, man. It is really untrue. Yeah? The discipline and commitment that I have to put in on a day-to-day basis to look at financials, to break financials down, you know, for a lot of people like myself, it's hard work, yeah. But the hard work, understanding that you've got time and dollar to play the same game, is ridiculous. Complaining. So we've got two things. We're either committed and we're being creative to move this thing forwards, or we're complaining. And I can tell when people are complaining for one reason and one reason only, because the words that come out of your mouth is complaining on a day-to-day basis. So we've got to wait financial success. We've got to work harder. We've potentially got to put more hours in the beginning and hustle and grind on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis to be able to swap our time for more dollars. Then work on how we can actually swap our dollars for more time. So it really is as simple as that. So Lehman Brothers, one of the biggest financial institutions in the world. I think they started in the 1800s, I believe. I think they're the fourth biggest company after Goldman Sachs and a few others. It's a worldwide player. So how can a company out of, so if it was 1800s, you know, 140, 150 year company file for bankruptcy around 9-10 years ago? So Lehman Brothers, monster, big, massive, smart, intelligent people, and they went down through the global crisis in GFC. But if we simplify things down, why they went down in the GFC, and it was mainly due to the American housing market, because what risks are actually out there to ourselves? We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Who knows what happens to the government tomorrow? I don't watch the news, listen to the financial reviews and so forth, because all I know is that whatever happens out there, you're going to have two things, you know, assets and cash. So liquid assets and other assets, whatever they may well be, that have got good liquidity about them or can be turned into liquid very, very quickly. So in business, there's a number one most important thing, and that's to have lots of liquid, which we're going to go into a second. What's liquid? It's that big hose pipe pushing in your face, which is called cash flow. Cash flow. So just a couple of things as regarding waiting. I've had clients over the years that haven't waited, that we've grown to be monsters in 3 or 4 years. Then suddenly egos kicked in and they've gone and tried to grow too big and take on stupid projects and do stupid stuff without that level of knowledge. Then boom, bang, gone. Built up portfolios of investment properties, had fantastic business and great team, then suddenly got this thing called ego and gone boom, bang out the door. So we never rest on our laurels. We listen constantly to people that are better than us. We listen to their advice, not necessarily take it, but we take it on board and analyze it on a day-to-day basis. Because if we can avoid, and I'll credit this back to one of my mentors and coaches, Keith Cunningham, if we don't pay the stupid tax, we didn't do stupid stuff and pay the dumb tax, how much money would you have now? So think about it over your life. I'm 47. If I hadn't paid some dumb tax, that means doing something wrong over this last 30 years, last 40 years, how much money and how much time would you have now? So being smart in business is about not doing anything really fantastic with financials. It's about understanding where the fuck you are and not doing stupid stuff. If you speak to any of my boys, it's probably not a bad thing for somebody to speak to them from time to time and see what they're doing and not doing regarding the financial literacy that they have and the financial literacy that they're getting every day by learning new stuff ahead of paying dumb tax is quite phenomenal versus paying the dumb tax and going backwards. We can see things now before they actually happen. So understanding your dumb tax is very important. And how do you understand not to make these things in the future? Well, it's by these couple of things called your scoreboards. So I want you to think about, I would have asked you from memory to say, right, imagine your time as an actual machine, as an asset that you put stuff in and it produces stuff out. And I want you to think about this financial literacy as your machine, because that machine that you're about to drive has got lots of dials and levers. No matter whether it's a car, motorbike, plane, boat, whatever it may well be, a yacht, you've got ropes to pull. I want you to think about your business, your machine as a machine. That you put some input in, it does something. You pull a line on a boat, it tacks the other way. You hit the accelerator pedal, it goes like fuck. You hit the brake and turn the wheel, it goes off the actual track. Whatever it is, I want you to be able to understand that your financial literacy is your machine. So picture your machine as your financial literacy. Because here's the thing. Imagine someone jumped in the helicopter with me and they jumped on the left side of the seat and about to take off, and the rotors are sort of rotating around and the helicopter starts to juggle and jiggle around, and the hand on all the controls and the feet on the controls, and we're ready to go. And then the dude sat next to me says, hey, what are all these dials for? What are all these different gauges for? And all these warning lights for? And all these beeps for that are going to go off and so forth? And I say, fuck if I know. All I know is I pull this thing up and the helicopter will go up and hope we should be right, mate. And if one of these starts reading one, who knows what's going to happen? Well, what would happen to that dude or dudette sat next to me? They'd exit pretty quickly, wouldn't they? They'd be straight out of that helicopter, straight down the runway, never see him again. So the thing is with a business, it's like giving the keys to a V8 car to a 17-year-old that's never driven a V8 car before and saying, there you go, kid, hit the right pedal, hold it nice and flat, and go and see how you get on. It's not going to happen. But what happens? The same analogy in business, your machine. We jump into this thing with a massive degree of arrogance, as I did when I was a kid. I know how to make this shit. I know how to sell this shit. I know how to do this stuff. But the financial literacy to understand how to build and scale a business, to understand the numbers, is just not there. But we do it, and I see it on a day-to-day basis. And I see so many businesses, so many families destroyed over this one simple thing called financial literacy. So I want you to think about your machine now. So whatever your machine is, I want you to think about the actual dials on the plane, because we're really going to understand the dial. So your first dial on your actual machine is your income dial. What is the income that we're heading towards? That is your destination. That's where we're going, whether it's in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, or 8 years. That is the destination we are heading for. Remember, just because you're successful today doesn't mean you'll be successful tomorrow. But you can predict the future with financial literacy and understanding and spending time doing this stuff. That's what we talk about, time first. Remember what we're working on? Time comes first, dollar comes second, result comes third, and we scale. If we don't understand our financials, we don't take our time seriously, we never scale, we never get a result, we fail. Assets and cash, and equals next to both of them. So assets that precede the equal sign, what should it equal? What should it produce? Cash, what should it produce? Let me give you the exact terminology of what it should produce. It should produce cash flow. Cash should produce cash flow. So what do I mean by that? So two types of things. Yeah, you've got assets. What's an asset? To me, if we look at the most physical assets, it's a building. Bricks and mortar, as my father used to say. Number two, what's your second asset you've got? Your business. People say to me, what do you do, Pete? What's your gig, dude? They say to me, I say, what do you do? I say, I'm an investor. Oh, fuck, you a banker or something like that? No, I'm stupid. I couldn't be an investment banker. So what do you invest in? I say, invest in two things, people and property. People comes first, property comes second. Why do I invest in people first? Not business, property. Because a business does not produce income. People produce income. And if you look at any smart business or any smart businessman, they go and find the people first, then go and find the business. Or if you've got a business, go and find the smart people next that are smarter than you in that particular area. All the people that work for me and around me are far smarter than me in their area. They blow me away. I can't do anything at any of my businesses as well as anyone can do it themselves. So when you look at an asset to me is either property which comes after you produce cash flow. So assets, cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. The only reason why you have an asset is to produce cash flow. So we need good cash flow that's predictable. So how do you get good cash flow that's predictable? We need assets that are safe. How do you assets that's safe? Only you can work out whether they're safe enough. And the only way they're safe is you're still in that thing, watching what's going on, and you've got your dials on your plane, your scorecards for your day-to-day basis. So what is cash? So cash is what your assets should also produce. If you got money in cash, like how much value does cash have? I can tell you now, cash is absolutely, we say cash is king, but it's absolutely worthless. Absolutely worthless is cash. Because if you've got that invested in the bank, inflation is going to outweigh any actual return you're going to get. So you're going to get rid of it. If anyone know, from those that have been coached by me and really understand my personal background and my detail, I work off $900 a week per my salary. And for those guys that are working with me with KPI sheets, and the dudes that are with me in business and so forth, and partners will understand that we keep our main train accounts very, very tight and very, very slim to a very specific budget. Then get rid of all the cash, get it out of there and put it away somewhere for a rainy day or invest it back into the business. So we make sure with these assets, we don't have all our eggs in one basket. I see too many people investing everything they have into one particular income stream. The only way we can actually produce businesses moving forward is to make sure we've got multiple income streams. That doesn't mean you have to multiple businesses. Make sure you've got multiple income streams. So most companies don't make it past the first 1 to 4 years. Why? Because they don't build their assets properly. They don't produce their cash properly. They spend not enough time on focusing on cash. And this cash doesn't exist. What I mean by the cash doesn't exist, they have no cash flow. It goes. And what they have is these things called overdrafts and more expenses, overdraft, more expenses, overdraft, more leases, redrawing on home loans and so forth. We have to stop that churn. Now, the only way we do that is by looking at the business model and making sure we go in the right way. Because guess what? We don't know what we don't know. And even if we do know, because I guarantee most of you guys have been teaching here to suck eggs. But they're probably eggs we need to suck or need to suck on a day-to-day basis. Let's do my triangle again. Assets, time, and dollar. I'm going to ram this home. Identity again. All great answers. But now I'm going to drill down. I want you to really think and take that a stage for after today and drill down to what your assets are. So your assets will be, your current home that you live in, any investment properties, money that you've got in the bank, the knowledge that you have, the team that you have around you, the list goes on. I want you to think about assets as this way now. I want you to change the way you think about everything to do with assets to really get this clear understanding. This is what most people don't get, most people don't know, and we're going to really go deep and bust this stuff up when we get deeper into the real technicality of financials as we move forward. But I need you to understand the basic flow of how assets give you more time, give you more dollars, and more life if we follow one of 4 futures. So I want you to write in the top left-hand box, asset or assets. This is where you've only got one job in life, and that's to increase your asset base. Assets produce income, which produce more time to be able to build more assets, more income, more time. And let's run through this. I want you to think about assets. All the thing an asset should do, and the only assets we should invest in is to help us get more sales. Every asset that you're investing in should do one thing and one thing only. This is business 101. Financial literacy 101. We only buy shit. We only invest in shit that will help you produce at sale. So if you're an asset yourself, the only things you should be investing in is information and knowledge to help you what? Get a better sale, increase your sales, increase your revenue. So whether it's a truck, a machine, a person, whatever it may well be. So I hope a lot of you are putting down the assets as your team. Every time you take on a new team member, it's got to do one thing. It's going to help you do sales better. So it may well be in your particular business, if you're a standalone small business owner, you've got to actually get rid of some junk, some of that day grind bullshit stuff, to pass down to somebody else so you can focus more on sales. Because the only 3 things that we need to do in life and business is number one, get the fucking sale. Just get that sale. There's only two transactions that are happening in a day-to-day basis with everybody. You're either selling somebody or being sold to. I don't care that whether your wife or your kids or your business or your friends or your family, we're either selling to them or we're being sold to. That's the way communication works. So any asset that we're going to invest in moving forwards, there's going to be a sale process part to it. Number two, once we've actually got the sale, we've then got to go and recruit people. Recruit the best people, the best assets. You know, if you're a CIA agent, what do you call them? My asset I've deployed in Russia. Why? Because we're a fucking asset to them. They lose their asset. So your team are assets. So we only invest in the team, assets that are going to produce sales. I see so many businesses blowing up. Boom! We get busy, need more people. Get busy, need more people. We've no fucking idea where to put these people, what they should be doing. Assets has then got to go to what we call, I want you to learn this word, earnings. Asset into sales, then into earnings. And this is where it starts to go along for a lot of people. So earnings is what the sale produces, which is basically the competency of a business, is the profit that's left over after you've conducted a sale. But the reason why I like to call it earnings for, because in order to turn earnings into the last part, which I'll go with in a second, we have to be very, very good at our financial literacy. And this is what we're going to go to over the next few weeks, into really understanding profit and loss, understanding balance sheet, understanding cash flow. I'm going to explain the difference between OCF, ICF, and FCF, operating cash flow, investing cash flow, and financing cash flow. I'm going to teach you how to grow a business with fuck all money, with no investment at all, and no finance at all, through strict criteria in controlling the earnings, which is called budgets in place and so forth, to produce one thing and one thing only. And that last part of this is the most exciting part, which to me is the cash, the moolah. But this simple diagram explains your basic business fundamentals, as simple as this is, why most people fuck this thing up. Because they get too complicated with all the noise and all the confusion for this stuff to start running around everywhere. So I want your brain to work this way, yeah? Is we actually have an asset, whether it be in our business, that has to produce a sale, or you get rid of it. It off or you don't buy it, it's gone. Yeah, it's making sure that we're knowing where we're actually investing our cash into the right assets to produce the right sales that make the most margin, which you're going to hook straight into. I've grown businesses net profit by 30, 40, 50, 100% and changed all else apart from teach them how to understand financials, how to charge properly, how to invoice properly, and how to cut out some of the crap. So assets, invest into sales, into earnings, and then it produces cash. Now, here's the thing. This is where everybody fucks up. So remember this. I'm going to use the word, everybody fucks up. Because when we get it right, when we do get it right and do these three things properly, 1, 2, 3, I'm getting passionate now. This is where it all goes wrong. This is where business fuck up usually the second, third, fourth, fifth year. This cash that they produce after now doing everything right, this fourth part, where does it go, do you reckon, with most companies? Let me answer that question. We're running out of time. It usually goes out the business, into the pimp lifestyle, the latest car, the biggest house, and just go and blow the whole lot. The secret to business is patience. The secret to business is understanding these three areas. 1, 2, 3. Then once we've got the cash, knowing this final secret is our operating cash flow gets invested back into the business to produce more assets that produce more sales, that produce more profit, that produce more cash. Now, that is the fundamental reason why most businesses, I won't go through all the stats you've all heard before, 0 to 1 year, 2, 3. This is the number one reason through financial literacy where everyone gets carried away. Because as soon as they get a smell of money starts coming through, tax doesn't get paid, GST doesn't get paid, new shit starts getting bought because we get this cash flow that's going through, we get confident with it, we think it's okay, we've got a month with the cash in the bank, and things start to go wrong. So to play it safe or do fear planning, what I do is to constantly understand you've got to have money to make money. And that's what the rich never fucking teach you. You don't have finance to make money. Financing upon financing, you never get that full operating cash. Now, I don't want any of you running scared now because I'm going to hear some of the things going on now in some people's minds. Yeah. Of course, we need finance for stuff. Yeah. Of course, we need to take some investments from time to time. But the simplest way to grow a business is to maintain a very strong, very deep depth of operating cash flow and reinvest it back into the business before we take any out. Not saying don't take any out. I'm saying we're going to look at where's it got to go through. Your business, your team that run that business are your number one asset. So last thing, I know I've got to finish up. 4 futures. Where are you going to be in 8 years? Let me finalize this section, this first section. So we've got self here now. This is you. We've got future 1, future 2. Draw this out. Future 3, future 4. Let me give you some clear lines. I'll give you a green line. I'll give you a purple line. I'm going to give you an orange line. And I'm going to give you a black line. And this is what I like to call 4 futures. Which one are you going to decide to have? So your futures are 4 futures. Number 1, this is rock star. So do you want a rock star future, the glitz, the glamour, the shit, the stuff, not to think about it on a day-to-day basis, to have enough cash, not to have worries about it being scarcity or uncertain, to be able to feel and be able to go to bed at night time knowing that, hey, something goes wrong, no problem. I've got cash in the bank, I can sell some assets, it's no fucking big deal, you know what I mean? Life's good. We're retired, technically we can be, or we can just go and do more shit at a higher level, a faster and a better level. So rock star. So if you're not excited about your life, where it can go in the next 8 years by learning financial literacy, understand what you need to do, probably keeping it very, very simple, yeah, there's something wrong. Because the key to it is the work that we do, because number 1, life is rock star, yeah, that's what we've got to head for. Number 2, life, yeah, and you hear this all the time, and I call it, you speak to your mates, and you go, how's it going, dude? You know what they say? Good, mate. Yeah, okay, good, mate. Good. What the fuck is good? You don't want a good life. You want a great life. You want a rock star life. Whatever rock star looks to you, that's the life we're looking for. Number 3, when you ask your mate, how's it going, dude? Hear the word, not so bad, good mate. When you hear the word good mate, psychologists are going to later on science. Good mate means someone's doing okay. Just survival. When you hear one say not so bad, it usually means the bad is the first word, not the last word. Normally when they're screwed. And your 4th one is you just completely fucked. So this simple diagram now, decide where you sit, because when I count this back, reverse engineer it and build your machine from rock star, that's your ultimate life, all the way back through to year 1. We are currently sat here, year 1. No matter where you sit now, no matter what level of rock star you're at or wherever you sit on the 4 futures, if you don't make the decisions here, don't start learning financial literacy here, do some fucking dumb stuff here, still don't learn here, go into denial here, blame everybody else here, that was at year 8. Now look at the gap to get from down here, and some of you are down here. Yeah, I can tell you that now. I'm going to have to work exceptionally hard with me and through this program to be able to get back up here and then to get here. But you know what? By spending 1 to 3 years here, I've done this in 28 years and worked with some like ultimate basket cases. I mean, and there's nobody on this call today that's anywhere near a basket case, but work with some real hard core individuals that just, you know, didn't want to learn or couldn't learn. But I only work with now, as you know, guys that want to learn and want to put in and show some commitment and discipline to moving forwards. But between this 1 to 3 years here now, if you are prepared to learn financial literacy and get yourself organized and start to think ahead, that rock star life is there. And I can tell you why, because I've done it myself and I've worked it with clients over and over and over and over again for the last 25 years. This is the basic fundamental to where we're going for the next 4 to 5 weeks. Yeah, I wanted to set the frame. I wanted to start with some persuasion before I start to persuade you into some of the shit that I do on a day-to-day basis that I fucking don't like to do, that I've trained everybody in my life and my business to do, that they probably don't like doing either most of the time. but it's the key to success, to understand your machine, your business, what lever to press, what pedal to press, what dial to look at to ensure that we can predict without a crystal ball to protect our future. We protect our future by building assets and cash flow. The bigger the pipeline or the multiple small pipelines coming in, the better. The bigger the assets with the lowest LVR ratio, the better for safety. For me, it started off with 5 or 6 shoe boxes back when I was sort of 14 years old. My shoe boxes were the money for how I'd work things out. And last lesson for you from my 14-year-old, that probably my father taught me as a very young person, which got me so far, was I had shoe boxes for different types of things. I had a shoe box to put in to be able to use on a day-to-day basis to spend. My second shoe box was to be able to save up for a rainy day. And my third and fourth shoe box was the box I used to put money into to be able to save up for certain things. I still have those same shoe boxes now, just called fucking bank accounts, whether it's driving cars, buying push bikes, or doing cool things with the family. I have a different box for everything. It's called a bank account. We put a certain amount of money into each bank account on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis, and it builds up to be able to use cash or to do what you want. Guys, it's been great. I've loved hanging out today. I hope you've enjoyed today. I've certainly enjoyed teaching you guys. I hope you've learned something. If you haven't, go and look at yourself, because I've taught some great shit here today. There's a bit of confidence for you, not arrogance. Enjoy this beautiful weather. I'm going to go and find my bike parts now and get the bike made up ready for tomorrow night's sprint. See you later, guys. Bye for now.